Breaking news! What if I told you that the most dominant dual-threat season in NFL history is being brushed aside as if it never happened? What if I told you that Lamar Jackson, fresh off a record book rewrite and leading the Ravens to a 12-5 record, is being ranked behind the quarterbacks he handily defeated last season? And as if that weren't insulting enough, ESPN just gave Baltimore a B+ for an offseason that could very well take this team into Super Bowl territory. It's the kind of disrespect that should fire up every Ravens fan watching this right now. But before we go any further, be sure to like this if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages cheering for this team. And if you'd like, comment, "Go, Ravens!" We'll make sure the rest of the league hears us. Now, let's dive into what really happened because this is something every Ravens fan needs to talk about. ESPN just released two big things, a quarterback ranking and offseason grades for all 32 NFL teams. And once again, the Ravens are getting disrespected in a way that should have every single one of you fired up. First, Lamar Jackson, your reigning AFC North champion quarterback, the guy who just threw for over 4,100 yards and rushed for nearly 1,000, is ranked as only the fourth best quarterback in the NFL. Fourth, think about that. There are apparently 3 quarterbacks you would rather have on your team than Lamar Jackson right now. Joe Burrow is ranked ahead of him, Josh Allen is ranked ahead of him, and of course Patrick Mahomes holds the top spot. But let's break this down for a second, because this is where it gets laughable. Lamar Jackson threw for 4,172 yards, which is 250 more than Patrick Mahomes and over 450 more than Josh Allen. He had 15 more passing touchdowns than Mahomes, 13 more than Allen, and threw fewer interceptions than both of them, 7 fewer than Mahomes and 2 fewer than Allen. That's not even counting the fact that Lamar is the greatest dual-threat quarterback the NFL has ever seen. And Joe Burrow? Lamar beat him head-to-head twice last season, both at home and on the road, while leading the Ravens to a 12-5 record and winning one of the toughest divisions in football. And yet, Lamar is ranked 4th? Some voters even placed him as low as 6th, which is downright absurd. And if you're looking for history-making performances, Lamar Jackson just became the first quarterback ever to throw for over 4,000 yards and rush for over 900 in a single season. He set career highs in almost every passing category, had a career low in interceptions, and led his team to the playoffs. What more does he need to do? The disrespect is unbelievable, and you can bet Lamar's taking notes. Like Cole Jackson said, you can rank Lamar Jackson 32 for all I care. Talk's cheap. Let's play. And knowing Lamar, that's exactly his mindset heading into 2025. But if that wasn't enough to make you shake your head, wait until you hear about the offseason grades. ESPN gave the Ravens a B+, as if Eric DeCosta didn't absolutely cook this offseason. DeCosta signed DeAndre Hopkins for just $5 million, drafted top talents way below their projected draft slots, extended Rashad Bateman, signed elite cornerback Jair Alexander for only $4 million, and brought in Chidobe Awuzie for depth. Oh, and let's not forget drafting Mike Green, arguably the best pass rusher in college football last year, in the second round. That's 23 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, and 59 pressures for a guy who's now going to be learning from veterans like Kyle Van Noy and Ode Foa. And yet ESPN's favorite move was signing Awuzie, not Hopkins, not Alexander, not even drafting Mike Green. Their least favorite move? Drafting Green. The logic makes zero sense. You land one of the best value picks in the entire draft, a player who's expected to make an immediate impact, and somehow that's a negative? This offseason feels like it closed the gap between Baltimore and recent Super Bowl winners like the Chiefs and Eagles. For the first time in years, this team looks stacked on both sides of the ball, and the disrespect they're getting right now might just be the fuel they need to go all the way. Now, let's dive into what really went down. Because this isn't just about rankings and grades, this is about a narrative that completely ignores what Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team just accomplished. Let's start with the ESPN quarterback rankings. Lamar Jackson, after becoming the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 4,000 yards and rush for over 900 in a single season, is somehow sitting at number 4. That's behind Joe Burrow, who Lamar beat twice last year, behind Josh Allen, who threw more interceptions and had fewer passing touchdowns, and behind Patrick Mahomes, who, while still the king with multiple Super Bowl rings, put up statistically worse numbers across the board in 2025. Let's just put this in perspective. Lamar Jackson threw for 4,172 yards, which is 250 more than Mahomes and over 450 more than Allen. He had 15 more passing touchdowns than Mahomes and 13 more than Allen while throwing fewer interceptions than both. 7 fewer picks than Mahomes, 2 fewer than Allen. And that's just the passing game. We're not even talking about what Lamar does with his legs, something no other quarterback in the league can replicate. He's the first QB ever to combine that level of passing production with nearly 1,000 rushing yards in a single season. Yet some voters had him as low as sixth. Sixth? That's not just disrespectful, that's downright insane. And then there's Joe Burrow. Great quarterback, no one's denying that. But Lamar went into those games, home and away, and outplayed him. Beat him twice. Led his team to the playoffs. Joe Burrow hasn't been able to do that in a long time. Yet, somehow, he's ranked ahead of Lamar. The logic is laughable. But here's the thing, Lamar doesn't care, and neither should we. You know what he's thinking right now? Exactly what Cole Jackson said. You can rank Lamar Jackson 32 for all I care. Talk's cheap. Let's play. And that's what makes Lamar dangerous heading into 2025. He's not out here to argue with analysts. He's out here to win games. And you better believe that chip on his shoulder just got a little heavier. Now, let's talk about the offseason grade, because if you weren't already shaking your head, you will be after this. ESPN gave the Ravens a B+, a B+ for an offseason where Eric DeCosta went into full-on chef mode and absolutely cooked. Let's list this out. DeAndre Hopkins $4 million. Jaire Alexander $4 million. 2 elite players added for bargain contracts. The Ravens also extended Rashad Bateman, who has the potential to emerge as WR1 this season. On top of that, they crushed the draft, getting players who were projected to go much higher than where Baltimore grabbed them. The biggest example? Mike Green, the best pass rusher in college football last year, a guy with 23 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, and 59 pressures. And somehow, ESPN lists drafting Green as the least favored move of the offseason. How does that make sense? You land a player who was projected as a first-round talent in the second round, a player who will now get to learn from veterans like Kyle Van Noy and Odefoa, and that's a negative? Meanwhile, ESPN says their favorite move was signing Chidobe Awuzie, not Hopkins, not Alexander, not even drafting the future star pass rusher. This B+ is a joke, plain and simple. Baltimore addressed key needs, added depth at crucial positions, and did it all without blowing up the salary cap. If this isn't an A or A+ offseason, what is? The gap between the Ravens and teams like the Chiefs and Eagles just got smaller, and if these moves pay off the way they should, this might be the best Ravens roster we've seen in years. Now, I want to hear from you, Ravens flock. Where do you rank Lamar Jackson among NFL quarterbacks right now? Is he number 2? Number 1? And what grade do you give Baltimore's offseason? A, B, C, D, or F? Drop your answers in the comments. Do you think this is finally the year the Ravens make that Super Bowl push? Let's keep going because we're not done yet. The more you break this down, the more obvious it becomes that this Ravens team isn't just being overlooked. They're being underestimated in a way that could completely backfire on the rest of the league. Because let's be honest, how many times have we seen Lamar Jackson thrive when people doubt him? Every single time he's counted out, he comes back and proves everyone wrong. And this season might be the ultimate example of that. Think about the weapons around him now compared to just 2 years ago. DeAndre Hopkins may not be the same player he was 5 years ago, but even at this stage, he's still a route-running technician who can win in critical moments. Pair him with Rashad Bateman, who is finally healthy and primed to take that WR1 role, and you suddenly have a receiving core that demands respect. Then add Mark Andrews, who remains one of the best tight ends in the league, and Isaiah Likely, who has grown into a reliable secondary option at tight end. Lamar now has a full arsenal of weapons he can trust, something he's never consistently had in his career. And let's not forget the offensive line. Re-signing Ronnie Stanley was a move that got criticized by some, but stability on that line is crucial, especially for a quarterback who can make